To lead in a world that never stops evolving, you need insights from those who are driving change. Welcome to Breakthrough Innovations, where we bring together the top leaders and innovators who are reshaping their industries. I'm JL Heather, the Principal Executive Coach at Center, and in each episode, I sit down with game-changing executives who share the strategies, insights, and challenges that fuel their success. In the next 20 minutes, you'll gain practical takeaways to drive your own breakthroughs. So if you're ready to stay ahead, join us here on Breakthrough Innovations. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Breakthrough Innovation. With us today is Nadhan, the Field CTO Ambassador at Red Hat. Nadhan is responsible for driving and fostering the dialogue with industry leaders, decision makers, and influencers. He is part of the Field CTO organization that bridges customer needs and the Red Hat product and global engineering teams. Nadhan, I'm super excited to have you here, and we're really glad you could make it to be on the show.
Absolutely, JL. Honored and privileged to be here. My first time, so I'm excited. Let's charge ahead.
Yeah, let's make this a great one so there can be a second time.
Absolutely.
To start off, maybe share a little bit about your journey and what led you to your current role.
Absolutely. Well, I've been around. I went up the technical ladder starting as a program analyst way back when, and then slowly went up the chain to being a, sales enablement engineer. And then this is not, I'm talking even before Red Hat, before coming to Red Hat. And I was actually with another global systems integrator. And there, being in the sales enablement role, I became a managing consultant and principal consultant, and then came into what was called the portfolio engineering organization, where I was the chief architect for some of the flagship offerings like application/modernization, data center modernization, and so on. I joined Red Hat as the chief technology strategist very close to 9 years back. I just completed my 9 years just a couple of weeks back. What that meant was talking with customers about what their strategic outcomes are and how can we empower them and be part of their transformation journey. And yes, we have software products or enterprise open source and all that, but really it has to be used with a purpose. So what is that strategic outcome and where does the technology strategy fit in? That was my role for the central region. I then became the chief architect and strategist for North America, and then graduated more to a global role leader for chief architects at large. All this time was in the sales organization. In the last couple of years, we have actually made a move where I am now part of the CTO, a global engineering organization, and the Field CTO organization is really at the intersection of sales and engineering. So we need to be, as an enterprise innovation platform, if you will, open platform for our customers. We need to constantly look ahead to not just what customer needs today, but also what is coming next, and bring that forward for co-innovation with our customers and partners. So that's where the Field CTO organization resides. We look to the right to work with customers and our account teams who actually work with customers, and look the other way, and that's where our global engineering organization and the product teams are. So we are at that perfect point of inflection where the two forces meet. And it's great to be here after having been in the position to actually sell and make the business case to customers and so on. A learning experience for me, JL, is now we have to make the case to our own engineering teams. Why should we spend time on said feature or said domain and so on? Because engineering time is valuable time. So we have to internally make the business case as well to our leadership, which sometimes could even be harder than it is to work with make the case to the customer. So there you go. That's how I got to where I am. And, we're very, very excited. I love to come to work every day doing what I do, JL.
That's awesome. And I love that idea of things are driven by the customer, right? If there isn't that customer need, then it doesn't make sense to build that feature. And then the idea that innovation without purpose or strategy backing it, like that future vision backing it, isn't worth it either. I think those are probably two of the most common things I see is tools, innovation, things are built because we can, not because there's a specific need that's driving it. And it seems completely basic to say that, but so often I think we see the opposite. I know when we were starting our conversation earlier, one of the things we talked about, how more and more these days, innovation isn't an option. Like enterprises doing business as usual isn't going to cut it anymore, and innovation has become the mandate. Talk to me a little bit about your views on that. Why do you think we're seeing that shift?
Yeah, well, there are multiple forces at play. One I would say is the customer demographics have changed, where are changing by the generation. When we tend to profile customer segments as Gen X and millennials and baby boomers and whatnot, what we are really talking about is not so much the age, but the mindset. And there is a different mindset which actually requires enterprises to frankly deliver to all segments or pick the segments that they want to target. And if they don't innovate the overall experience that the customer has, depending on which segment they are working with, the same experience is not necessarily going to work for all generations, for all demographics. So enterprises have to be very creative and then apply the creativity to innovate so that the customers want to come back. Otherwise, they're going to lose that particular segment. So that is one dimension. The other is technology continues to evolve. I mean, we call it a buzzword, but it goes through the hype cycle, and then suddenly there are possibilities that were not even practical for consideration, even in the recent past. And when they say every company is a technology company and so on, that's what they really mean. They are applying technology with a purpose to innovate, and it is not like you're working with the same set of tools over decades to address the customer experience overall. The tools change, the options change, the technologies change. So if companies don't make good use of what is available to them and the changing demographics, they are going to be out innovated. They are here today, won't be there tomorrow. So that's pretty much, if you want to be extinct, then don't bother innovating.
Right. And I think that's probably a good reason why we've seen such a rise in the role of chief innovation officer. The more companies realize that need, the more they feel like they have to have a specific person with their eye on the horizon from an innovation standpoint. So I really like that perspective. I think,
I would maybe tweak that a little bit. I'm not disagreeing with the role of the chief innovation officer, but that it's almost like, it's not that that's the only leader whose team, our only team that is, it should be enterprise wide. So as
absolutely.
long as the responsibility of the chief innovation officer is to instill and institute a culture of innovation across the enterprise and the extended enterprise, job well done.
No, and that's a really good call out. And I think I'm curious from your experience, what is it about a culture of innovation? Like, what are the hallmarks of a culture of innovation that you look for?
So first I would start by saying culture is more the output and not the input when it comes to an enterprise, even from an innovation perspective. So there are some hallmark characteristics that actually fosters innovation. And that would be, an open culture where you feel safe, share new ideas, and it's not like you're only supposed to do X and you cannot cross the boundaries and think differently and so on. I mean, when they say there is no such thing as a stupid question or a dumb question or something, there is a subtle message there, which is, you're good no matter what you're asking. Every question warrants due consideration. So every idea warrants due consideration, and they shouldn't be. It should be an environment where if you come up with an idea, you know exactly where to go, what to do with it, what are not that's not an implication that every idea will become a product on Monday and
Right.
then you get a commission out of it. That's not the idea, but you have a forum to share ideas and then collaborate, discuss, brainstorm, nurture it, grow it. That's really the hallmark of a culture of innovation.
Empowerment requires enablement.
Absolutely. Yep. Well
If
said.
there isn't that path, you can't do it. No, I love everything you're saying, and that topic of psychological safety. Speaking of buzzwords, is such a critical one as well. I think that so many organizations feel like innovation is an event, not a culture, and because of that, that safety part of it maybe gets a little bit underutilized.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not like, hey, let's have the annual innovation day. So does it mean we don't innovate the other 364 days? That
Yeah.
doesn't fly.
We're having a hackathon this weekend. This is the only time it's okay to experiment. Every other time you have to be perfect, never fail. Yeah,
Yep.
no, I like that. This concept of innovation as a culture rather than an event is a powerful one. And I'm wondering, so you mentioned earlier something about open innovation, and that's not something I know a whole lot about. So I'm curious how that ties into this conversation.
So I say this about Red Hat, and it is true. I want to say for majority, if not all the enterprises, that we don't do it all. We work with other partners, we work with other companies, other providers, whether it be systems integrators, service providers, other software companies, hardware companies, to actually deliver, complete solutions that customers can realize outcomes from. Why am I saying that? Because it takes more than, it takes a village of companies, it takes a village of enterprises. When when we work together, this when collaboration happens, collaboration with a purpose, not so much who gets the largest slice of the pie or how much money we make. And even though every company is in there, for there is a business need, they're there to make money, there is no doubt about that. However, when we partner, when we collaborate, that is where real outcomes happen that are more purposeful. It's not so much about just using a excuse me, a company's product, but building something longer term that is sustainable for the end customer.
Yeah.
So that's why collaboration is a mandate as well. Very few are those companies who just kind of did something by themselves. And when you collaborate, you also get more adoption of what you're working on. You get early feedback. You get early, it is like, if I take the open source community where we are, we are the world's largest enterprise software company with an open source development model. So there are a million projects going on out there, and it's out there. Everyone can see the code, and multiple eyes on the code actually, innovation happens because there are somebody else comes in and then looks at the same piece of code with a different perspective. So yeah, that's why collaboration is essential to drive innovation.
Well, and basically what you're talking about is almost decentralized innovation. I think I fall into this trap of thinking about innovation happens when you have a small group of cross-functional people in a room or on the call together. And what I hear you saying is with Red Hat, that innovation is happening in a distributed way because of the open nature of the code base.
Absolutely. In the open source community, and we have lead contributors. That's their job. That's our job. At the
Yeah.
same time, I'm not saying it's only Red Hat in the open source community,
Right.
right? There are our competitors are there, our customers are there, our partners are there. It's like we don't have what one would call like a research and development lab. We
Right.
innovate with customers, but we don't need an R&D lab because the open source community is our R&D environment 24/7.
No, I love that idea, that concept of co-innovating with your customers. That's powerful. No, I love that. I'm curious, as we're kind of coming towards the end, what's your advice for CTOs in other organizations as they approach innovation?
So first off, I would say don't let the products of today drive the outcomes you target. Start with the outcomes in mind and look at what is available on the truck today, but also look to what is coming, what's not here, what is the white space, and how can the technologies that are being worked on, experimented with around the corner, how could they be factored into the outcomes that you're targeting? And that is because if we CTOs, especially, I would say, need to be ahead of the game as to not so much what products and offers the companies are providing today. It should be more about what are the offers tomorrow, and more importantly, how does technologies of tomorrow better enable them? So CTOs have to have an environment where you start experimenting with the technologies of tomorrow so that when the time comes, it is proven, it works, and it can actually be sold to customers with meaningful outcomes.
No, I love that. So as people are looking to connect with you, collaborate with you, where's the best place for them to do that?
LinkedIn, I usually sport my red fedora there all the time.
Which
But
I love the fedora, by the way.
yep. So I wear that with great pride. And yeah, LinkedIn would be the best environment to get hold of me. In
Well,
fact,
thank
if you
you.
go there, my banner would actually say, collaboration drives innovation or something to that effect. I'm looking it up as I speak. But
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
yep.
Awesome.
Innovation needs collaboration. That's
There
what
we
I
go.
say.
Among other things, but yes, I agree. That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for the great conversation today. We're really grateful that you had the chance to come on the show and for us to hear your insights. And for anyone who's listening and joining us and made it all the way to the end, thank you as well. I hope you found some value here. And I hope you consider leaving a rating or a review on whatever platform you listen to your podcasts. And if you know anyone who's looking for one, Red Hat solutions, or two, a collaboration partner in the innovation space, share this episode with them. I think it'd be great and they get something out of it. Lastly, don't forget to take one actionable insight from today, apply it, and let us know how it goes because we'd love to hear about your progress. And that's the purpose of these podcasts, is to share some actions that we can all take to be more innovative. So thanks again and see you all next time on Breaking Innovation.